Liam, we've already mentioned a little bit about your role in education and training there. Can you describe what your role is in the CARA Centre?
Yeah, well, basically, as Niamh was saying, there's a lot of good stuff going on in Ireland at the moment, and there's a lot of talented people working in the area of disabilities and training and education. And my role here as training and education officer for the CARA National Centre would be basically to bring a coordinated, joined-up approach to a joined-up multi-agency approach to this training and education, and just bring out that we'd have cost-effective training and education packages in areas such as coach education, which I think in with our national coaching body here, Coaching Ireland, areas such as adapted physical activity, which is obviously you're using the EPIT model, right down to training of volunteers in sports clubs and volunteer coaches on how to include a person with a disability should they wish to come to the course. So, like I said, I work right across multi-agencies, and it's just trying to bring a joined-up approach to what's going on at the moment.
And with those joint, do you find particular people in those agencies who are easier to work with, or you develop your own network? And because that's a very big responsibility to bring all those different players together.
Yeah, well, I suppose if it was going to be easy, it would have been done a long time ago. I've no doubt it's going to be a challenge, but you'll always find somebody in an organisation, and it might be top down, where you're going straight to the CEO, or else you start from the bottom up, where you're just working with somebody that has a sympathetic ear and wants to work with you. And it's just, like I said, a lot of it is we are a linking agency, the CARA Centre here, so that's basically what we're trying to do here in our training and education as well. We don't have the capacity to go off and develop these training and education models on our own, so we are trying to buy in and get people on board from all these other agencies, and it's working good so far, and hopefully we'll have a bright spanking new package to roll out soon enough.
That'll be good. We'll showcase that when it's done. You mentioned IPET. Is that how you pronounce it? IPET. EPET. Can you describe EPET for us? Because I think that's a really valuable resource for people to have a look at.
Yeah. Well, EPIT came out of the Adapted Physical Activity Programme here in IT Tralee. The Adapted Physical Activity Programme in IT Tralee has really changed the landscape of disability sport and adapted physical activity in Ireland. It's been running now for 14 years. Again, an idea of Pat Flanagan, where he saw, as Niamh said, a gap in provision that needed to be filled. So it's really the last 14 years. There's been quality people coming out of that program and going in and working in disability services, or else some of them have gone on to become PE teachers, and they have that. They have the knowledge and the skills to know how to include people with disabilities. So out of that, IT Tralee and partner agencies across Europe have developed the EPIT model, and the EPIT model is an off-the-shelf training resource for universities and colleges that anybody can go and download that for free at www.epit.eu, and in that it will give you all the tutorials, suggestions for lectures, suggestions for practicals, and also has an online element for video training. And like I said, that's free for anybody to go and download, and basically it's to show colleges and universities best practice about how to teach their students how to include people with disabilities in sports and recreation.
How would you? I'll put that link onto the site here. That's not a problem. How would you describe your kind of general? You've kind of described it already, but how would you describe your general approach to inclusive education?
Okay, well, there's been a big push in Ireland, maybe more so over the last 10 years, to mainstream kids a lot more in schools. So it's becoming more and more prevalent that a PE teacher might have a child with a disability in their classes. So we're trying to upskill teachers on how to be inclusive. Unfortunately, in Ireland, at primary level, we don't have specialist PE teachers. It's left up to the primary school teacher to teach PE, and some of them, mightn't feel comfortable doing that. So as a CARA here, in conjunction with the Department of Education, we're hoping to help these teachers upskill. So at present they do 40 hours of PE across the whole of their training, so it's very hard for them to find time to then do modules on adaptive physical activity. So with our training and education packages, teachers can come along and maybe on their own time, or they may get time out during midterm from schools to come along and do the training with ourselves, which we feel will give them, while it's not ideal, will definitely give them the basics on how to be more inclusive in their physical education classes from now on. At a secondary school level, EPIT is there, and we're hoping colleges and universities will continue to take on the EPIT model, and there's a ready-made package to teach their students how to become more inclusive in their physical education classes.
Do you think, this is a question without notice, Liam, do you think I'm good at those, do you think in an ideal world there wouldn't be a need for your extra training for those primary schools? What they get already would be inclusive enough to include kids with disabilities in what they do? Yeah,
well, obviously in an ideal world. The other thing is that I'd find when I go out and work with teachers is a lot of them know this stuff already. It's just that they want to get they maybe don't feel confident, and it's amazing how many of them, when they come to your training and they realize just how easy it is, and how it's just common sense a lot of the time on how to include the children. So but what we're trying to provide as well, like I said, at primary school level, maybe not all the teachers feel comfortable. So maybe if a couple of the teachers were trained up in this extra training, they can go back and then give that skills back to some of the other teachers in the school. In an ideal world, they would get more training on their undergraduate degrees, but it's already tight on time. That's why we're working with we're evaluating the EPIT model at the moment in another European-wide project called APA VET, and that's looking at what's needed for different strands in the sports and recreation field. So, as we said, does a PE teacher need the same amount of training that a sports and recreation graduate needs? Does they need the same amount of training in adaptive physical activity as a sports science graduate needs? So that's a European-wide project that we're currently working on. Sorry, and so coming out of that, hopefully we'll streamline EPIT for all the different kind of strands, sports and recreation.
Yeah. And like you say, for some primary school teachers, it's more confidence and attitude as much as anything else.
Yeah, and I mean, when I go out, when me and Eve go out and we provide these trainings, some of the ideas that come back from people that have never worked with a child with a disability, some of the outside the box thinking that they come up with it is better than me and Eve could ever come up with it. I mean, I always get away from these things with ideas which I rob as my own and pass them off. So, right?
Done that for years, yeah. Just trading off other people. That's great. Thanks, Liam. I'm sure I'll encourage people on the site here to have a look at all the links, and there's some more information from the SIDOs on this site. But thanks very much, guys. We really appreciate your time, and we'll get Pat on here one of these days. And when your education material gets rolled out as well, we'll have a look at that a bit more closely as well. So thanks very much. I really appreciate your time.
No worries. Thank you. Thanks.